welcome to my YouTube Live Simply Succulents class. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. This is still really new to me. I'm not used to going live on YouTube, so forgive me for my jitters. I don't know why I've been doing live videos for over a year and a half, but it feels different tonight. Oh, I've got to mute my laptop. So I've got my laptop open on the side to try to follow comments. So hopefully I'll be able to catch your questions. I'm going to just say up front, if I miss a question that you have, then I will be sure to respond to it later. But I think I'm going to be able to follow along okay over here. Yeah, let's just jump in. So I want to give you a little introduction. Tonight's class is the Simply Succulents card class. And so this new series, this is going to be a monthly series, is sort of a change in program from my regular Stamp of the Month Club class that I'd been doing. So I've been doing that one for years and years and years. And every month I would feature a different stamp set, and I would have a card kit with 3 different designs, and everyone would make 2 of each, and you would get the stamp set and you could add on the dies. And over the years, I've had a lot of requests for people to just get the card kit or just to get the PDF. And in all that time, I did never have a video that walked through every single project. So I've been wanting to make some changes. And so this is the reimagination of Stamp of the Month Club. So instead of calling it a club, this is Stamp of the Month class. So this is the first one of this type, but I will be doing this every single month and featuring a different stamp set or a different bundle each month. And so you have lots of options. You can get the kit that has pre-cut cardstock and designer paper and pieces that are ready to go. This one included twine. Or you can get just the PDF. You can add on the stamp set and the dies at a discount. And this time I offered a free gift, some of the wooden elements, if you added on the stamp set and dies. So you got those in your kit already. Now, as far as card kits, at this point, I only have literally like 1 left. So if you're interested in the PDF, then you can get this right now, immediate download in Etsy at tinyurl.com/June2021 PDF. The card kit includes the PDF as well. So everyone who already bought the card kit from me received a link to the PDF. And here's just a quick glance. So you get like a page for each project. It includes measurements, instructions, little templates, everything that you need to create these projects at home. So if you have the kit, you can just follow along. Tonight in the class, you don't have to have purchased the kit. All these classes will be free online. You can watch. You can just follow along if you just want to watch and see some stamping and see some fun ideas. You don't have to purchase the PDF. You don't have to get the card kit. The class will always be free. It's just if you have the kit, then you can participate along with us. So I'll give you some measurements as we go, but I'm not going to post the measurements anywhere. I will post the pictures. So if you want all of that stuff in one easy to read thing, then you're definitely going to want the PDF. Now, if you missed it, I had a little preview video and I shared 2 extra cards. This was not part of the kit. This is actually 2 cards that Stampin' Up designed as part of the bundle focus. So if they look familiar, that is why. So if you have the Simply Succulents and you haven't seen this video, be sure to check it out. I'll include a link in the video when we're all done. And you can check it out if you missed it. This was just a couple hours ago. I was testing YouTube Live because this is literally the first day I've ever done it, and it's a little bit different than Facebook, but I think we're gonna do okay. And I can see all your comments, so hello everybody. Hi Cheryl and Mary and Lynn and Nancy and Mary and Kathy and Mimi. I'm so glad you guys are all here. Kathy and Deborah and Kimberly. Are you guys ready to start crafting? Leave a comment and let me know if you're stamping along with us, if you're just watching. I'm going to try to go slow enough so that if you are stamping along, you'll be able to keep up and I won't go too fast. But I want you to know that this replay will be available. So if I am going too fast, just take a deep breath, color later, or just put a pause on your card, and you could always watch the replay and go as slow as you want and pause as you're going. So we're going to jump right in and start. The first card is this accordion card. I'm calling it an accordion card. I saw somebody else call it a stand-up card because it does stand up really nicely like that. And you may remember the one that I shared recently in another video, and I just loved this card layout so much that I wanted to share it again. This folds up so you can put it right inside a regular size envelope and mail it. I just love that. So let's go ahead and start with this card. Here's another change that I made to these Stamp of the Month Club card kits is that instead of packaging them in cello bags, I've got them packaged in envelopes. That means you can stamp your envelope to match and you can have your card ready to send right away. Do you love that change? I'm really excited about it because I'm kind of earth conscious. And when I think about that, I think, why have I been using these plastic cello bags for so long? But I've found the way. We're going to have envelopes from here on out. Even the bonus project kits, I'm going to try to convert and move over to envelopes when I am done with the cello bags. So that is a big change that you're going to see moving forward. Okay, I'm going to sit down. I think I can see the comments here. I'm so used to standing up during my Facebook Live. So oh, still feeling a little jittery, but let's go ahead and start. I feel like I don't know how to organize myself. Okay, we're starting with half a sheet of mint macaron cardstock. Now, if you're doing this at home and you don't have the card kit, this is scored at 2 inches, 3 1/8 inch, 5 3/8, and 6 1/2. Okay, I'm gonna write it down really quick. I'm not gonna put it anywhere else. So grab a notebook. If you don't have the PDF, write it down. And 6 1/2. Okay. So 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, just a half a sheet of cardstock. And that's how you're going to score it. 2 inches, 3 1/8, 5 3/8, and 6 1/2. And so this is going to fold kind of like zigzag, like back and forth. So we're going to fold it like this centerpiece is sort of up high, and then, the rest of it folds back. So that is elevated and the rest of it comes down like that. Okay. Now one thing that, another change that I made was to include 6x6 designer paper in the kits. And I'm really excited about this change because in the past when I did 2 of each card, I was really limited on designer paper because I couldn't use too much of one pattern or I wouldn't have enough. So now I'm including a 6x6 piece of different sheets in your package so that you can cut it and you can use all the patterns and we can have enough. And there is going to be leftover designer paper. I did use designer paper on every card, but you'll have enough left over to make some other cards. And I would love for you to share your extra designer paper and make some simply succulent cards to share in the Julie Stamping Spot Share and Connect group on Facebook. Okay, so I tried to put all the patterns that we're going to use face up, and I'm going to walk you through cutting these. So for this card, we're going to use the green stripes and this smaller floral. On the back side is the pink, so sometimes it's easier to find it that way. So we're going to take both of those out and we're going to cut those. So let's do that next. We're using our paper trimmer and we're going to cut the stripes. So I want the stripes to be horizontal right now, and we're going to cut this designer paper. We need 2 pieces, and these are going to be 1 3/4 inches. So 2 of them that are 1 3/4, and then we're going to trim them. We're going to turn them and trim them the other way, so we're clipping the ends off. So 5 1/4 inches. Okay, so these 2 pieces are 1 3/4 by 5 1/4, and you need 2 of those. Those are going to go on the ends. And then save this because we're going to use this for another card. So I'm going to put this over here with the other pile of paper for another card. Next up is this fun little floral print, and this is the hand pen designer paper. I was just looking at your comments and Michelle says, you've got this, don't be nervous. Once I get going, I'm okay. But sometimes it's just like the nerves of knowing that so many people are watching and worried about screwing up. But I started on time today. I was really proud of that. Okay, so this one, you're going to do 7/8 inch. And again, we need 2 of them, one for either side. So 7/8 inch, we've got the 1/2 inch and the 1 inch. And then in the middle is the 3/4. And in the middle of that is the 7/8 inch. So we're going to go right there. And we're going to cut once and twice to cut 2 strips. I don't know that we're going to use this one again, so this might be a big piece of your extra, but let's just set it aside for now. We're going to do 7/8 inch width, and then we're doing 5 1/4 inch. So these 2 are 7/8 by 5 1/4 inch. So 2 of those, 2 of these. Okay, so we're done with our paper trimmer for now. I'm going to get this out of the way. And then there's some other pieces in this kit that we're going to use. The centerpiece for the front and the back is 2 inches by 5 1/4. And this is just white cardstock. So one's going to go in the front, one's going to go in the back. They're the same size. So 2 each of 3 different pieces. And then the other pieces in here are essentially scraps. These are going to be what we stamp and die cut for the other elements of this card, the succulents and the pot, and then the label as well. So what should we do first? Let's go ahead and let's do our stamping first. I'm gonna put these aside. And I've got my stamps already mounted. Hopefully you do as well and you're ready to go. For this one, we're gonna use the large succulent stamp, the large pot, I guess there's only one pot, and then the words that say, kind people are my kind of people. I love that sentiment. These are all rubber stamps, and I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. All of the stamps that we're going to use tonight, we're using black Memento ink. I chose Memento Black because this is the kind you want to use for the alcohol markers for the Stampin' Blend so that you don't blur the lines. So make sure you use that for coloring with the Stampin' Blends, which we actually are going to do on this card. So let's start with the large stamps. Sometimes I find these large stamps easier to ink up like this on their back. So I see Joanna say, it's Mary. My pre-order is in. Oh my gosh, you must be in another part of the world where it's already July 1st. Are you demonstrators who are watching excited about the pre-order tomorrow? Demonstrators can order from the brand new July through December mini catalog. Even though it's July through December, it doesn't start until August for customers that just had some inventory issues and decided to push it back a little bit. So pre-order starts tomorrow, and then everybody else will be able to order starting August 3rd. If you're not a demonstrator yet, you really should think about it. You can see the whole catalog online right now, and you'll be able to pre-order along with the rest of us. In fact, if you join tomorrow, starting July 1st, you'll be able to get pre-order things in your starter kit. What? It's true. If you're interested in that option, let me know and I will figure out how to show you what those new things are. All right, if you're following along, we've stamped the succulents, we've stamped the pot, we've stamped the words, and we're going to stamp also on this white piece for the inside of the card. It's kind of the back, but this is where you're going to write your message. So we're going to do a little stamping here as well. I'm stamping the smaller succulents and just kind of going over the edge. I remembered my grid paper this time. One thing I did forget was my Stampin' Chamois. Oh my goodness. I'll figure it out one of these days, right? Before we do our die cutting, we're going to do a little coloring. So on, I'm going to keep it on the grid paper actually. For the small succulents, we're going to go ahead and color these with the Mint Macaron Stampin' Blend. I was doing this in the other video, the preview video, and I was saying sometimes I start with the dark and then I blend with the light, and sometimes I go light and then I add the dark. You really could go either way. Like there's not a wrong way to color with your Stampin' Blends. I'm using the Mint Macaron Stampin' Blends. There's a light and a dark. I'm trying so hard. This is like so weird to be trying to keep up with comments while I'm stamping. So I'm really trying. Hello, everybody that I've missed. I'm so glad you guys are all joining me tonight. This is really fun. This is the first time I've done like a live class like this. Usually we do Thursday night stamp therapy, and it's been a while since I've done a stamp along with me even. So hopefully my pace will be okay tonight and we won't go too fast. But like I said, if you are stamping along and you feel like I'm going too fast, you can always come back and watch the replay and take your time and pause. So I've colored the succulents in the back. I'm actually going to add some color with the Stampin' Blends on this one too. This is sort of a cheat. When you stamp on colored cardstock, you don't need to color the whole thing, right? But I'm going to add, I'm going to use the dark, I think. I'm going to add just some shading here with the Stampin' Blends. I just wanted to kind of add some shadows, and as this is an alcohol ink, so it's going to kind of soak into the cardstock, and we're going to get just, I don't know how well you can see that. Let me get a little close up on here. Just a little bit of shading there. So like it's subtle, but I think it helps to make the succulents really kind of pop. So I'm just going to kind of go over, there's some built-in lines to the stamp images. So I'm just kind of going over those lines on the ends a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing with the pot as well. Now, if you are a team member, I see some of my team members have commented that they're watching. Hello, guys. If you're a team member, you get the PDFs for all of my online classes like this for free. So then you can just cut your own card kit and follow along. I love providing that extra little perk for my team members. I've been doing that for years with the Stamp of the Month Club tutorials. And now that we're doing these live classes, I love that there's sort of another element to connect and allow team members to join and participate. So just another perk of being on my team. I've got demonstrators all over the United States on my team. We have about over 120 team members right now who are all over. I forget how many states, it changes all the time, but we do have a lot of state covered. I live here in Illinois, but we do have demonstrators who are in Florida to Washington, Oregon, East Coast. We've had at times demonstrators in Hawaii and Pennsylvania, and even some military demonstrators who were abroad in Guam and one in Germany. So if you've been thinking about being a demonstrator for the discount, or if you want to have classes with your friends and be the first to order new stuff, then you should definitely think about joining the Jubilant Stampers. For the pot, I'm just adding, again, with some of the dark, I'm just adding some kind of lines around the edges here, just some shading. You can see that the ink is already kind of blending in here on the succulents. We're ready to do some die cutting. This is going to go aside for the card base. Let's get out our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we're going to die cut with the potted succulent dies. Now, if you don't have this Simply Succulents bundle yet, the stamp set and the dies are going to carry over to the annual catalog. However, the bundle discount does not carry over. That means that if you want to get the 10% discount, you'll need to order this tonight. So you can still get the stamp set and dies separately if you want to wait, but the bundle discount, saving the 10%, ends tonight. So make sure you get your order in. All of the January through June mini catalog stuff, if you want any of that that's retiring, designer paper, any of those deals, you definitely want to get an order in one last time to get all your favorites. The sometimes we see those designer paper and the embellishments and accessories, sometimes we see those come back in the clearance rack, but almost never do we see the stamp sets. So if you've been eyeing any of the stamp sets that are retiring, this is literally your last chance. All right, Kathy, I see you've got your pre-order list ready. Do you know, I don't have my list ready. I'm just gonna open the catalog and just start plugging in numbers. Was that bad? Oh, Mary, you know what? Mary says you need an admin, and I talked to my son, and I asked him if he would like keep up with comments for me, and he said he would. But I know that he was not too keen on it. So I'm hoping I can kind of keep up. I see my die shifting a little bit, and I should have used a little Post-it note. That is, oh my gosh. Okay, my die shifted a lot. Holy macaroni. Oh. Well, that one wasn't so bad, but look at these. Okay. That's terrible. You know what we're going to do? We're going to grab another piece and we're going to try this again. I was going to say, like on this one, I wonder if I could just like restamp it. Don't you hate it when this happens? I'm trying not to get my head in the, oh yeah, that was not, that wasn't any better. Okay, let's grab some cardstock scraps. I think this one is fine, so I'm gonna go with it, but let me see, here is, I got another piece of So Saffron, and I think this will work. Well, if you're a slow stamper, this is gonna be just fine because you get to watch me do this again. Okay, oh, that had a little smudge. Let's turn it over. Oh my gosh, terrible. In your kit, you only get one piece, so you get 2 sides, 2 tries. That is better. Okay, let's close this up so we don't get anything on it. I'm going to show you my trick because the magnetic, there's a magnetic plate, but it was having some quality issues. It was warping and it was really bad. So Stampin' Up pulled it, and we no longer have a magnetic option for die cutting. So if you have your old one, you can certainly use that. But another trick is to use like washi tape or sticky notes to hold your die in place. So that's what I'm going to use this time to keep my dies where I want them to go. So let's center that and then use that sticky part of the Post-it to hold it in place so that it stays centered. That's better. Lynn says, take a breath. Oh, yes. Okay, Mimi, I'm a new demonstrator. Will they send me a complimentary celebration and mini catalog, or do I need to order them? Stampin' Up does send complimentary catalogs to demonstrators. However, they are sent via bulk rate mail. And so if you don't want to wait for that, because sometimes that can be unpredictable, then I do suggest ordering a package of catalogs tomorrow. You can order when you pre-order, you can order a package of 8 catalogs. So I recommend that anyway, so you can share with your friends, and you'll probably get that sooner than you'll get your bulk copy. But they do send catalogs to demonstrators, complimentary copy, 1 each. So if you don't want to order an 8-pack, it is coming. And that reminds me, actually, if you're a demonstrator, I'm making myself a note, the mailing selector ends tonight. So if you want to use that to send catalogs to your customers, then you want to finalize your order tonight. I'm still not sure. I think I might order catalogs and send them myself because that bulk rate mail is so unpredictable. Let's get this card put together. We're gonna add the designer paper first. So let's go ahead and flip that over. I'm using Stampin' Seal, but you can use your adhesive of choice to add this to your card. I'm gonna do all of them at the same time. Oh, are you, Lynn says she's the slowest stamper. Are you doing okay? Are you keeping up, Lynn? You'll be my litmus if you think you're slow, because I really am worried about going too fast, but I also don't want to go too slow where people who are watching are just sort of bored or ready to move on. So you let me know if I'm going too fast, Lynn. I'll watch for your comments. You tell me to slow down if I'm going too fast. Margot, I'm so glad you like this card design. I got a card from, oh, now I'm drawing a blank. Anna took it upstairs. It was a birthday card for Anna. And it had the whale. It was just the cutest card, and I was inspired by that. I've seen cards of this design before, and I just copied the scoring measurements from that card. It was just the cutest ever. And the other one I made, let me just stick it out really quick because I think it's right underneath my feet. The other one I did, this was on a Thursday night stamp therapy in another video, was the house plants, the bloom where you're planted. So you may remember this version of it that I did last month, a couple weeks ago. I don't know. I lose track of time. This panel is going to go on the back side. Again, this is where you're going to write your message. This card does not open in the traditional way, so you'll want somewhere to write your message on the back. That's perfect. And then we've got the white panel here that's going to be the base. These are going to go on with Stampin' Dimensionals, and then I just used some regular adhesive on this one. So let's get those dimensionals out. And I know you guys sometimes think I use too many, but oh, hi pups. I like to make sure that it's totally supported, although you have to be careful on this, that your Stampin' Dimensionals don't go over the sides. I want to make sure that it's not like sinking. So sometimes like 2 is fine there, but I feel like I might just put 4 on there. I do use a lot of dimensionals. You don't have to use that many. That's a great thing when you're stamping at home. You can do your own thing. Oh, good. Lynn, I'm glad you worked ahead a little bit. So that's one of the perks. When you get the card kit, you also get the PDF. So you can pre-cut your designer paper. You don't have to wait for it to be live. You can do some stamping ahead of time if you want, so that you don't have to color live if you want to follow along. So definitely a perk. Mary, I have 2 dogs. They're both beagles, and they're rescues. I put too many Stampin' Dimensionals on, and now I can't get my pot in there. They're rescues. We've had them for about 3 years. They were with another family for 5 years before that. And they're older. They're about 9 and 10. And they're actually usually pretty quiet. I'm not sure what they barked at because they're both just sitting by my stamp room, which is here at the front of the house, kind of next to the living room. And every now and then they just have like random barks. I don't know. They hear, I think, more than they see what's going on. I added that with Stampin' Seal. And so one last touch on this is going to be the linen thread. I use linen thread on all of these cards. And so if you measure this out with a ruler, you're going to want about 9 inches for each card. I did measure out 45 inches when I made the kits up. So 9 times 5 is 45. So I'm going to cut all of my twine right now so that I don't have to cut it again for every card. And you should have enough there. So 5 9-inch pieces. And for this card, we're going to tie a bow and attach it with a glue dot. Oh, Michelle says she has a rescue beagle too. He's going to be 1 on July 4th. Oh, that's so awesome. I bet he's still a handful at 1. Oh my gosh. So my dogs are older, but they still get into trouble sometimes. They have really, really smart sniffers, and they're always like, if you're not paying attention, Gracie especially will get into anything that smells like food. I try not to eat in my stamp room because if I have any kind of wrapper in the trash can that smells like food, she will dig through the trash can. She's destroyed some cards in the process. Oh my gosh, don't get me started. All right, there's our first card. I'm calling it the accordion card, but again, I've heard other people call it a stand-up card because it does sort of stand up and have that dimension. All right, let's move on to our next card. I'm going to put that one aside. And, oh, I forgot, because we have the envelopes included, you can go ahead and customize that. So for this one, I think I'm going to do a little bit of of the succulent in the corner. So I'm just going to leave it black for now. You could color that if you want to, or you could just leave it like that or stamp it in a color. The other thing you can do, and maybe I should have done it for this one, is you want to make sure that it's going to be leftover. You can use leftover designer paper and cover the flap of your envelope and then cut around it. So that's a great way to use your leftover designer paper. Okay, our next card. Oh, this one is my favorite. This is the next card. Isn't this gorgeous? This is one of the things I love about doing the Stamp of the Month Club class the way we're doing it now, because previously when I did the card kits, I would avoid detailed die cuts like this because die cutting one for everybody was just a pain. There was no way I was going to cut, 50 or 60 or whatever for all the card kits. Well, now you're cutting your own, so I can do all the detailed things like this that are really fun, because just die cutting one at home is not so bad. And so we're gonna start with that here. So we've got a pale papaya cardstock as our card base, and then there is a piece that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this is the size of a card front, and that's what we're going to die cut with the detailed die. So in the potted succulents, we have this giant die. And that is going to cut that detailed background border. Isn't it just so pretty? Oh my gosh, I love it. So we're going to center that, send it through the die cutting machine, and then we'll add it to our card. So I'm going to stick everything else to the side, and let's get our die cut machine back out here. I call this one Big Mama. And most of the other dies you can use Little Lucy for, but this big background die requires the width of Big Mama. So you're definitely going to want the big one for this. So I'm going to put that right down there, center that die, and send it through. So I'm sitting down today, which I usually don't do. So this is an interesting angle to die cut at. Usually I'm standing up when I do my die cutting. How about you guys? Do you die cut sitting down or standing up? I'm gonna double check to make sure that it cut all the way through, which it did. If it didn't cut all the way through and you don't see the lines from the dies, and you can stick it back in and send it through your die cut machine again. Before we clean out this die, we're going to die cut a few more pieces while we have the die cut machine on the table. So this one I'm just setting aside. We're going to clean that, like I said, in just a minute. In the meantime, we're going to die cut these detailed dies right here. I guess we could do that later when we do the stamped images. Yeah, let's do it later when we die cut the stamped images. Okay, so I am going to put this, I'm going to move it out of the way for now. I'm just moving it to the floor. And for this one, this is really great if you have like a die brush. Let me see here. I still have the old one. This is the Sizzix Die Brush, but we do have a new attachment for the Take Your Pick tool that has the same sort of die brush on the end. And this is really handy. You just brush it over the die and you get all those pieces out, most of them anyway. And then you can just peel that off the die. Oh my gosh, oh, it's so beautiful. The other thing that is handy to get any of these other loose pieces is the other end of the Take Your Pick tool, which is a little, the little needle. So the Take Your Pick tool has an attachment here that locks into place. So there's a spatula on one end and there is the paper piercer on the other. So you can use that to poke through. And this is the end that you would take out to put the die brush attachment in. I swear that I ordered it, but I don't know where it is. I haven't been able to find it. So I guess I just need to order a new one. But once I order the new one, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to find the one that I've had, right? That's always what happens. As soon as the new one comes, then the old one is found. I know you guys can relate. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing your comments. So some of you die cut sitting down, and yeah, Krista, Says standing. Lynn says standing. I guess it depends on your craft room setup, right? And where your die cutting machine is. If it's at a standing counter height, then you probably would stand up while you die cut. I find that I just get a better a better angle and can get better pressure, you know, when I'm standing up. So that's why I usually die cut standing up. Okay, so let's bring our other pieces back out here. We've got our background done, and this is going to go on the card. Then we've got I'm trying to think about our pieces. This piece, the mint macaron, is 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. So this is going to go on the right side of our card, 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then I have 2 pieces in here, and I was sort of confused by that. The darker one, soft succulent, is going to cut the succulents for the front, and I think I included a lighter one for the succulent on the inside. So that's why there's 2. And if you don't have 2 in your kit, then you can do all 3 in the darker succulent. That's why I'm confused, because I thought in the kits I just did the dark succulent. You should have enough room in here to do all 3 on the one piece. So if you don't have another lighter green, do them all from this one. Okay, let's get out the other dies that we need. And for this kit, I did, you also have this on the inside. Okay, so for this kit, I included 2 pieces of 8.5 by 5.5 cardstock. And this is for the all the stamping and die cutting that needs to happen on white. Instead of including like a bunch of different smaller white pieces, I just decided to include 2 big ones that you can do all the stamping and die cutting from. So for this card, we need 2 small and 2 big succulents. Actually, that looks like 3 small and 1 big, but we can do 2 small and 2 big and change that one to a big one. And then we are also going to die cut a label. So let's get the stamps out. And on the large Whisper Basic White, we're going to stamp 2 large succulents, 2 small succulents, and the sentiment, you make the ordinary extraordinary. I think there's room for it there. Perfect. I like to color before I die cut because I find it easier to color a larger piece of cardstock. So I'm going to get out the mint macaron. This time I think I'll try doing the lighter color first. So I'm going to color in the whole thing with the lighter. I always use the brush tip, but there is like what is this one called? Brush tip, and then this is just like a I guess a fine tip. It's more blunt, I guess, than a brush tip. So I'm using the brush tip. I'm going to do all the lights first. There are so many different greens that you can get, but mint macaron has always been one of my favorites. Do you have a favorite green, like a go-to that you use all the time? This one has been a favorite for a while for me, and I think maybe sometimes I use other ones, but when it comes to these succulents, definitely I lean on mint macaron. And in the other video, in the preview video, I was showing the difference between the mint macaron and the soft succulent, and so this is a new in color. So this dark one is soft succulent and the light one is mint macaron. So you really can see the difference here. They complement each other really well. So they're a great cardstock to pair together. And you certainly could use the soft succulent to color these succulents. I just prefer the lighter mint macaron, just a little brighter of a color. But you can mix and match. And when I first designed the cards, I actually did use both, but I was trying to limit the supplies. And so I decided to just stick with the mint macaron when I was doing the supply list. So I'm adding the darker now, and holy macaroni, this looks so dark. So sometimes when I add the dark, I have to go back and sort of reblend with the light color again. I think I'm definitely going to have to do that here. Again, my little disclaimer, I don't love to color, so if my coloring is making you cringe, I'm sorry. I know I could have better technique. I'm getting better. I really just plain avoided coloring for the longest time because I did not enjoy it. My daughters used my Stampin' Blends more than I did. And now it's definitely the other way around. They still love to use them, but I've just come around a little more. Do you like to use Stampin' Blends? Certainly with this stamp set, you could use any color medium, whether it's watercolor or watercolor pencils. Yeah, Morgan says mint, macaron, and soft succulent are hard to choose between. I said just use them both. Oh yes, on the catalogs. I was trying to follow the comments again. Okay, I'm done coloring, so I'm going to get the Big Shot out. We're going to die cut all of these with the potted succulents. So I'm going to use my, oh, look at this. I didn't realize that the die set has two little ones. I thought I grabbed the little and the big one. So let's grab this out again. There's the big one. And I'm going to hold these in place with, oh my gosh, my laptop is freaking out. I lost the, what's going on? Oh, I put the die on the laptop and it moved and closed the window where I was watching the comments. So I just gotta load that up again. So I'm just putting the Post-its on to keep those in place. So I've got the white ready to go, and then these are going to be on the dark. And I'm pretty sure we can fit all of them on the dark one. I really think you only got the dark succulent in your kit. I think maybe this was from another version of the kit when I was making up my samples. So let's bring this back in here, and this is going to, oh dear, I guess my Post-its weren't staying very well. Let's try that again now that it's on here. Slide it in. And, oh, sometimes they're tricky, aren't they? To get them just right. How was that on there? Oh, there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to do, it's a tight fit, but we're gonna make it work. Oh, let's send it through. There is only one of the large succulents die, so I do need to send it through one more time for that. And I want to do one more detailed die cut with the aloe. So I'm going to send that back through. And let's get these out. Just going to trim that down. Okay. 1, 2, 3. have another small one. I'm sure I'll find it and say, move Big Mama. Oh, there it is, right under the label. Okay, let's move this down to the floor. Get that out of the way. We are almost ready to assemble our card. The last thing that we need to do is cut the designer paper for this card. So we've got our stamped images cut. We've got our detailed images cut. Move the dies out. So for this card, we're using the Pale Papaya polka dot paper, and we're cutting two pieces for this card. We're going to cut one for the front and one for the inside. So the front piece is 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and the inside piece is 3/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so first one is up here. This is 2.5 by 3.5. So we'll stick that in, 2.5 by 3.5. So we'll use this for the card, and then this is leftover. And the leftover piece, I'm going to cut at 3/4 inch and 5 1/4. Okay, so those are the two pieces you need from that polka dot designer paper. Now we are ready to glue some things down. Let's start with the inside piece because I just realized we need to do a little more stamping here. For this one, I'm gonna do this strip of designer paper along the bottom. And if you have trouble stamping straight, you might wanna stamp before you do your designer paper just to make sure that if you need to turn it over and use the other side that you can. So I got banks on the inside, and then we're going to do a die cut aloe and a large die cut succulent. So that's going to be on the inside. You could go either way. I like it like that. I'm just putting these down with regular adhesive. I usually don't use Stampin' Dimensionals on the inside of a card just because it seems to add bulk for no reason. So I don't usually use Stampin' Dimensionals on the inside. It's not bad if you do, but I just like to keep it flat. So this is going on the inside. And then the card front, we're going to add this down first. And the best adhesive here is the liquid adhesive. Carrie says, I'm going to have to come back and watch the beginning. Was out walking with her husband. Oh, I'm so glad that you caught some of it live. We're walking through 5 different cards tonight, and this is the second one of the 5. And absolutely, you can come back and watch the replay if you missed the beginning. You can also, if you are just tuning in, you can start from here and watch the rest and then come back and catch the first. We're almost done with this second card. I'm just going to add around the edges. If you want, you can add some in the middle. It's really, really fine. One way to get adhesive on the whole thing, I don't know why I always forget about this, but the adhesive sheets, we have some adhesive sheets where you would adhere the adhesive sheet to the cardstock before you die cut it, so that when you die cut it, you can just peel it off like a sticker and put it on the card. Like, that is the very best way to handle these really detailed die cuts. And for some reason, I just forget about that all the time. But that's okay, because this is gonna hold down some of the detail here. And so I don't think our card is gonna, like, it's not gonna fall apart. It's not gonna come up. So I've just got it around the edges. And then the next layer is this mint macaron, and that's going about an inch, 1.25 from the right side. And that should go the width of the card. Next up, we have that designer paper, and this again was 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. All of this is outlined in the PDF. So if you got the card kit, you have the PDF. And if you don't have the card kit or the PDF yet, it's not too late. I loaded it onto Etsy this afternoon, so you can get it right here, immediate download, tinyurl.com/June 2021 PDF, and it includes the instructions and measurements and pictures and stuff for all 5 of the cards that we're doing tonight. So if you want to redo these later, then that's a really great way to have all the information that you need for these cards. Okay, this is going to go in the center with Stampin' Dimensionals, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that and then add the rest with glue dots and kind of tuck them underneath. Although I wonder, well, let's try it this way. I feel like we're gonna have room to add, and I definitely want that to be in the center. So for the other elements, I'm going to use the glue dots and just put one on there, and then I can kind of tuck this in where I want it to go. And then this one is going to hang down. I'm gonna tuck that one in here. Carrie's asking if I have any kits left. I have like 1 kit left, and I'm not sure if it has been claimed yet. So Carrie, I'm gonna write down your name. I will double check when I get done and see if there was a sign up for that kit, and if I have one, I will get in touch with you and let you know. The kits are $15 and include the pre-cut materials that we're using tonight, and then also the PDF. So the best way to do it is to get the PDF, or to get the card kit, and then you can follow along, and then you have the PDF to make more cards later. So this is a new series of classes that I will be doing every month, featuring a different stamp set. So if you didn't get the kit for this one, that's okay. You can still participate next time. In fact, would you guys like a little sneak peek? For July, I'm going to be featuring the Tidings and Trimmings bundle from the annual catalog, which is a Christmas set. So here's the bundle that I'll be featuring, and here's a sneak peek of one of the cards. This is going to be a Christmas in July. I haven't designed the other cards, so I'll post details as soon as I have it ready, but it'll be the same deal where you can follow along and make all the cards. This will be a good one if you have a different Christmas stamp set and bundle. I think you'll be able to use the card kit and substitute other images really easily. So watch for details about that. And I haven't set the class date, but that'll be late July for that. So I hope you'll join for our next online class. And like I said, we'll be doing this every single month. All right, here's the finished card. And you can see I did add some of those wooden elements here. I love just the way that adds a little touch. So I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna add some of these little crosses. Now, this was a free gift if you added on the bundle to your card kit, but if you have other embellishments like enamel dots, you know, it would be really pretty on this card is the Genial Gems. That is brand new in the catalog. That would be a really nice addition to these cards. So you can embellish and add whatever you have at home if you don't have these little wooden elements. But I really like the texture that this adds. Okay, there's our finished card. This one might be my favorite one. I just love it so much. Yes. Kathy says she thinks it's going to be her favorite too. I just love the detail of the background. I think it's just so pretty, and the color combination as well. Pale Papaya is definitely one of my favorite new colors. Okay, that was the second card. Let's keep chugging along. This card is the next one. This is one of my favorite. This was something I saw at, I think it was like an on stage or something a few years ago. The concept of having a designer paper piece that makes up the card front, where you can see it on the front and on the inside. So this card is pretty straightforward. Obviously, I did not glue that down very well. This card is pretty straightforward, and one that I think you'll be able to copy again and again and again. So let's go over the measurements here really quick. We have a piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock, And this is 5.5 by 5.25. So the 5.5 is this way, and the 5.25, no, yes, 5.5 this way, which is the regular like length of a card, and 5.25 this way, which is 4.25, and that's where it's scored, plus an inch for the front. Okay, so this is 5.25 scored at 1 inch, and this is 5.5. Okay, so what we end up having is a card back with a flap for the front. And then we're going to cut a piece of designer paper. So that is going to be from the designer paper. That's this pattern, one of my favorites from this hand-penned designer paper. I love the colors in here. We've got Misty Moonlight, Pale Papaya, and then like, I don't know if this is Garden Green, Soft Succulent, Mint Macaron. I feel like it's got all the shades in there. And so I've paired it up with every single one of those colors. We're gonna cut this designer paper to be a regular card front. So that is going to be 4.25 by 5.5. So 4.25 first, then turn it and cut it at 5.5. And this is like a regular card front. So we can save these pieces here. We don't really need it for this card, but you don't want to get rid of it because we'll find a way to use it down the road, right? Okay, so well, I'm just going to do it right now. I'm going to put the adhesive down on the flap, and this just should line right up with the back of it, and we'll fold this over and give a good burnish there. That is now the card front. So we see this on the front, and we open it up and we see that beautiful green on the inside. Now, it looks like my paper is just a little bit off. You can use your paper trimmer. I use my big scissors to cut paper. I know sometimes that freaks you guys out. They are called the Craft and Paper scissors. Stampin' Up doesn't carry them anymore, but that's what they were called. I swear. Oh, okay. So then the other pieces of cardstock in this kit, this is the white to go inside. This one's 4 inches by 5.25. And then the front pieces, the Mint Macaron is 2 3/4 inches by 4. And this one is 3 inches by 4.25. So we're going to stamp on both of these pieces. In fact, we're going to stamp on this one too. I'm going to show you a little shortcut that I usually do. You can use the big piece of white that comes in the kit, but I love this little shortcut and I use this a lot. Okay, for this one, we're stamping the large succulent stamp. We're going to do one in the corner. Okay, and then I have you make the ordinary extraordinary. That's for the inside. Okay, then on the Mint Macaron piece, we're going to do black again. And this, again, is a little cheat. So instead of having to color, we're just going to do, we're going to stamp it on the green. So you sort of have that built-in color. The only coloring I did on this card was that one succulent, just to spotlight it. And then we need a sentiment for the front. And this is the piece that you're going to layer the Mint Macaron on, but you can double duty your cardstock and do your sentiment from the center. I'm going to actually turn it this way. So I'm going to die cut this from the center, and then I'm going to cover up the hole with that piece. So you won't even know that there's something missing. So that's just a way to stretch your cardstock a little further. You could do it from another piece of cardstock if you want to. Let's do the coloring really quick here. We're going to use Mint Macaron and only color that one succulent. This is just a way, again, a little cheat, so you don't have to color the whole thing. You can color the whole thing if you want. But I love just having a little spotlight here. And I think it goes well with the sentiment, which says, you make the ordinary extraordinary. So by only coloring one, right, we're just highlighting one part of the succulent plant, and that one is extraordinary. I know, I love this layout. This is so fun. And I feel like you could do this with any stamp set, any designer paper. This is a layout that you can definitely come back to over and over and over again. This time I'm using the blunt end, and it seems to be not quite quite as dark and bold. So I think it's going to work well where I won't need to go back over it with the other lighter color. Okay. We're die cutting this. This is the only thing that we're die cutting on this card. And you know what? I think you guys can, of course, use whatever die cutting machine you have at home. I am going to get out little Lucy for this one. Just because she is easier to use. So Lucy is what I call my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And Lucy was the almost name of two of my daughters. And I ended up calling them something else. So Lucy is just a name I've always loved. So that's why I call my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine Lucy, because I love her. She's just so convenient and cute. This is a really great thing if you're traveling with your stamping supplies. You can take it with you. If you don't have a lot of room on your desk, the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is a really great way to just save some space and, you know, not have to lug the big one around. It works well for small projects like this one. Not so well for the big background that we did earlier. Okay, let's do some layering and get this card put together. This one is really easy compared to the other cards because there's just not as many details to it. So it's going to come together really quickly. This is going to go on the inside. And then for this one, I used Stampin' Dimensionals to add that to the front. So let's get those out. And look, you don't even know about the hole in the middle, right? You just cover that right up and no one will know your little secret. It doesn't work if you have, like, if it hangs over the edge, you know, and you can see it, but it works just fine if it's going on a card front. I did add a little angle to this. I don't know why. This one more, I guess, than that one. But, oh, we need to cut our designer paper. So we've got our label. And just to add a little pop of color and tie in that pale papaya from the background designer paper, we're going to get out, these are the scraps that we had from the last card. This one's going to be too small, so we're going to cut a piece from this one. And this little piece of hand pen designer paper is going to be 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to do that one first. 3/4 of an inch by 3.5 inches. So just a little strip. Oh my gosh, that just makes it pop so much. I love that. And then instead of doing a bow here, I did a little just like loop-de-loop. So I'm just gonna sort of like fold it back onto itself. It almost looks like a bow, and if you wanted to, you could tie it into a bow, but I think it lays flatter if you just fold it. And then my little trick for doing ribbon like this is to add a little tear and tape and hold that in place. So let's get out the tear and tape. Just tear that right off. I love the tear and tape. I always joke it's a terrible adhesive. It's the best terrible adhesive that you'll ever find. Okay. I feel like I need an extra set of fingers here. Oh, I always fuss so much with it. It's just fine, Julie. All right, we're going to use regular adhesive on the designer paper right across the top center and Stampin' Dimensionals behind the label. Oh, yeah. I love how easy this card is. Like, you could just make up a whole bunch of these. When you guys stamp, do you make a bunch of the same designs so that you have some on hand to send? I find that I do that. Like, I like to make 2 at a time, and then, you know, it's just more efficient, I feel like. Now, I do feel like it needs something. So whether you're adding rhinestones or those genial gems or something like that, you definitely need to add something to just accent this card a little bit more. So I'm going to go back to those wooden elements. Again, this was a free gift. If you added on the stamp set and dies to your card kit, then you got a package of these with your card kit, so you can use these at home. And I'm going to add those and let that glue dry. So this is the multi-liquid adhesive. I was kind of worried on time. I think I said that this class would be 90 minutes, and I feel like it's already been 2 hours, but it looks like it's only been an hour and we've done 3 cards. So I think we are doing perfect on time. So we've got 2 more cards, and we might be done before a half an hour, but I would say that's about how long we have. All right, are you guys keeping up okay? I haven't seen a lot of comments, but hopefully if you're stamping, you don't have time to type because you're following along. And hopefully I'm not going too fast, but if I am going too fast, just know that you can watch the replay and pause and take as much time as you need to create your own cards. Yes, Celia says she tries to make 2 at a time as well. That just seems like it's smart, right? Oh goodness, I love this card. Our next card is a Z-fold card. This is a really fun, basic fun fold. So if you haven't done a Z-fold, essentially you take a piece of cardstock. So this is So Saffron, and you fold it in half, and then you fold the front back. So you fold it in half, and then you fold the front half back. Now, if you want to do your scoring ahead of time, you're going to score at 4 1/4, and well, I actually did it this way. Score at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. So half of 4 1/4 is 2 1/8, and then you fold it and you fold it back. Okay, so then we've got 2 pieces of basic white cardstock. And these are both the same size. These basic white cardstocks are 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So you need 2 of them, 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And for this card, we're using 2 pieces of that hand-penned designer paper. Now, when I first designed these cards, I wanted to incorporate some designer paper, and the Simply Succulent stamp set doesn't have specific coordinating designer paper, but I really fell in love with the B-side patterns on the hand-penned. So the hand-penned paper has these beautiful florals. And mostly we've been using the back sides of those. And I just love the soft floral patterns. We've got the Highland Heather, this, what do you call that? Like waves, and the polka dots and the stripes. So we're going to use that soft, the So Saffron color and the stripes. That was left over from the first card that we made. So we're going to use both of those, and let's get those cut. So the first one, let's cut this striped paper. This one is going to be 1 7/8 inch. So again, we've got 1 inch, we've got 1/2 inch, so 1 1/2 and 2. And then in between the 1 1/2 and the 2 is 1 3/4. And in between 1 3/4 and 2 is 1 7/8 inch. So we're going to cut that, and that leaves us with just a skinny little strip, and we're not going to use it tonight, but you can save it for another project. And then this is going to go 5 1/4. Okay, so this one is 1 7/8 inch by 5 1/4 inch. And then the next paper we're going to cut is this So Saffron piece. So in your kit, you've got 6 by 6 pieces of all the designer paper, and that's going to be a feature of these Stamp of the Month club, or the Stamp of the Month card classes, is you will get 6 by 6 pieces of designer paper, and you'll cut some of them for the cards, and then you'll have leftover pieces so you can use them to continue creating with your stamp set. So I'm going to cut this so that those squiggly lines are across. They're horizontal right now. And I'm going to cut this at 3 inches. so right in half. And I'm going to turn it and cut at 4 1/4. I'm looking at my cheat sheet. So this piece is 3 inches by 4 1/4. Hi Juanita, I'm so glad that you're able to join us. It's okay that you're late. This is the fourth card out of 5. So we're doing this one right now, and then we've got one more to go after this, and you can always watch the replay to see what you've missed. This is the designer paper that we need, so I'm going to set these other pieces aside. Now the yellow one's going to layer perfectly onto one of the white cardstocks, so let's go ahead and do that now. And the green piece, the mint macaron stripes, this is going to go onto the card base on the flap. Okay, so that's going to go right here. And I'm just centering that top to bottom. Okay. Now this piece is for the inside, and I just did a little stamping in the corner. So let's get out the stamping. You're also going to need, if you have the kit, your scrap pieces of Whisper White designer paper. So you got 2 pieces. This is what's left after another card, and we'll go ahead and use that one. We're going to stamp the large succulent stamp. And we're going to stamp the pot. And for the sentiment, we're going to stamp thanks. Okay, so these are going to get cut and die cut, or colored and die cut. And then let me bring this back in here. This is the inside piece. I'm just going to stamp it really quick while we have our stamp out. And this is just a little corner. In fact, I didn't even color this one. I just did just a little stamping on the corner for the inside. So that's going to go inside. I'm just going to set that aside over here. And let's get our coloring on. This is the one card that I did color the whole thing. You guys know I don't love to color, but we're doing it on this card because you can't do a stamp set like this and not do some Stampin' Blends. So I got crumb cake for the pot, and I'm gonna do all of the succulents in mint macaron just for simplicity, but you could really mix it up and do some different colors if you wanted here with the succulents. You could do, I've seen some succulents that have like purple on the ends. You can mix it up and use some soft succulent if you have that color as well. Add some different greens, really kind of mix it up. But I am keeping it simple today with just using the soft succulent, the mint macaron. So you can color yours however you want. And like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be Stampin' Blends, right? You can color in your soft succulents or your succulents with watercolor, with colored pencils. You could just stamp it on colored cardstock and die cut it like we did earlier if you want that sort of solid color look. So there's no wrong way. You can color your succulents however you would like. Sometimes I run out of things that I want to say. So how about this? While I'm coloring, because I sometimes feel like I don't know what to say, why don't you ask me a question? I can see your comments, so leave a question in the comments and I will do my best to answer while I'm coloring in here. Do you know, I almost forgot, I did forget to mention it, but my Stampin' Up Anniversary was 2 days ago on June 28th. I've been a demonstrator. Oh, I should have you guess. Do you guys know how long, I may have talked about it before, how long I've been a demonstrator? Leave a comment and let me know. I'm going to have you guess. How long do you think I've been a Stampin' Up demonstrator? My anniversary was just 2 days ago. And I'll see your guesses and then I will tell you. I'll tell you the answer. If you know anything about my kids, the hint is I've been a demonstrator even longer than I've been a mother. And I have 4 kids. So that's a little hint, I guess. None of them are twins either. Kathy guessed 17 years. Eva guessed 19 years. I don't see any other guesses. I'll just tell you, it's 19 years. It blows my mind. 19 years. Can you believe that? My oldest, Thomas, he'll be 18 in September. So I was a demonstrator for about a year, I guess, before I had him. And so all they've known is me doing this. This is the only job that they've ever been aware of for me. And so they're used to videos and being quiet and leaving my stuff alone, and they grew up respecting my paper crafting stash and not going crazy with it. Oh, Amanda says she's a new mom. How did you find time to stamp and take a break? She's thankful for her husband who's watching. Do your kids stamp with you? So my kids now, I told you Thomas will be 18 in September. Claire just turned 16. Anna is I skipped over Elise. Elise will be 13 this year, and Anna just turned 11. So they are older. At this point, absolutely, they love to stamp with me. My girls are all crafters and makers, and so they really go well beyond stamping and paper crafting. Like, they build and they create dollhouse furniture and accessories, and they even sometimes do a little sewing. So they're makers, they're creators, definitely more than I am, in the sense that they have a wide interest in crafting. But they do also love to create cards. They do a lot of drawing, which I am not any good at, but they just create the most amazing things, and not always with stamps. Like, they just do a great job on their own. But it has been tricky over the years, right? When they were really young, I would find time when they were napping. When they were young, we were pretty strict on an early bedtime. And so now it's a little tricky because the older ones, well, they all stay up late sometimes. But when they were really little, like, in the summertime, we would get room darkening shades because the neighbor kids would still be out playing, and we were like, nope, it's 7 o'clock, it's time for bed. And then we would have some time for ourselves. So we really definitely cherished that early bedtime, having some time for ourselves. So I would say, like, when they were young, I did a lot of my stamping in the evening when they were in bed, or during the day when they were napping. Whew. Thank you, Melinda. She says, congratulations on your Stampin' Up anniversary. And there were some more guesses in there. Lynn guessed 14 years and 18 years. Oh, happy anniversary to you, Mary. 1 year at the end of June. She says, no acknowledgement from my upline for my anniversary. Oh God, I have to say I'm really bad sometimes about acknowledging that for my team members. So sorry. I'm sorry to all my team members if I have neglected your stamping anniversary. Sometimes it's just hard to keep up with everything. So I hope you're not too hard on your upline, Mary. I'm sure that she recognizes and celebrates you in other ways. And maybe I just need to do a little bit more of that. I've been starting to recognize 5 years in our team meetings, like the 5-year increments. But I do need to do more of that. Thank you, Mary, for saying that and making me think of that. It's hard sometimes balancing everything, and there are things that slip through the cracks. I'm writing it down. Team Stampin' anniversaries. So happy anniversary to you, Mary, and happy anniversary to all of my team members who I have forgotten. I forgot my own Stampin' anniversary, so if I forgot anybody else's, it's not because I don't care, for sure. We're ready to die cut. Are you guys ready to die cut? Oh, Morgan, 15 years. Is that your guess, Morgan, or have you been a demonstrator for 15 years? All right, I'm getting out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to cut out our colored images. You maybe didn't color as fast as I did because I rush sometimes. Apparently it takes concentration and quiet to do this. Okay. I definitely don't want these to slip. So I'm going to use my Post-it notes again to hold these in place. Now, you guys have been probably watching my channel, and Mom and I started a regular series, Sunday Stamping with Susan and Julie, and she's been a demonstrator for 19 years as well. I joined in June, and she joined in October of 2002. So it's really exciting that we've been able to do this together. I can't hardly believe that it's been so long, but it has been so much fun. All right, let's sit back down. I had to stand up for that one because I just couldn't do it sitting down. Let's peel all these out. I usually don't do such a marathon of card making. Are you guys just exhausted? This is our 4th card, and I feel like, whoo, it's, I usually don't do so many different designs like in one night. Personally, like when I craft. I guess Thursday night stamp therapy, I do 3 cards. So I don't know why this just seems like a lot of work because I'm talking so much. Okay. Eva says, will they be working on a magnetic plate again? I believe that they are working on it. However, the issues that they had with this magnetic plate and the buckling, like it's going to take a while. It's not going to be something that happens quickly. Their product and development sometimes takes a long time, and they work really far ahead as well in the catalogs. And so when that was released and then had the problems, it's been a year since that released and they pulled it. And honestly, I don't expect to see anything for 6 months to another year. I really hope they can come out with something that works, but I think it is going to take that long. Okay, I started with that inside piece and I centered it in the back of my card. You want to do that first, and then when you add this piece, you can line that up so that it covers it, and you only see it when you open it. So let's go ahead and add adhesive only to one side of the front piece, because if you add adhesive to this side, you're going to glue your card closed. So you only want to have adhesive where it's going to land over here. And then I'm going to line up those sides and glue that down. Okay, so center the one in the back first, and then you can glue that one over the top. If you do this one first, it's harder to center this one underneath it because you're covering up what you're trying to center. So it just doesn't work as well. All right, we're going to use dimensionals under these pieces, regular adhesive under this one. Here, I'll just grab a new sheet. I always lose my dimensionals and I just have like a bunch of sheets running around at the end of the night all over the table. Rosie says, I joined and stopped after 4 years, started again for 5 and stopped again. Just haven't found the right person to help me with my business. I'm sorry to hear that, Rosie. I definitely have team members who've joined and dropped and joined and dropped, sometimes under me, sometimes under other people. I think a lot of it, as a demonstrator, you know, there's definitely people who can help you be successful, but a lot of it comes down to just being willing to do the work, because if you want to have a successful business, it is work. I've had people join and they were disappointed that the sales and the customers just didn't come to them, that they weren't, you know, like, you know, it didn't just start rolling in, and it does take some work. You can be a demonstrator and not work. You can enjoy the discount and hold classes for friends, but if you want to, you know, earn trips and promote and do some of those kind of things and enjoy those benefits, it definitely takes consistent work to get there. So good luck to you, Rosie. I hope that your current upline is helping you and you're finding the success that you want. Okay, I added that with some Stampin' Seal. And so the last thing on this card is just that twine bow. So let's go. I try not to use too many die cuts. Oh, well, Anita says she tries not to use too many die cuts because she's allergic to adhesive. Oh my goodness. That definitely would be difficult. So Juanita, do you craft with like gloves on to avoid touching the adhesive? I know some other crafters that have some allergies to adhesive and they craft with gloves to help prevent that contact. That definitely would be challenging. And even if you're not using dies, there's still so many beautiful things that you can do with punches and just the stamp sets on their own. Okay, here we go. Found my glue dot, and I'm just going to put that on and peel it off and stick it down. There's card number 4. This is the Thanks Z-Fold card. The So Saffron. One of the things I love about these colors is, or the cards, is the colors. I was really happy with the way this card kit came together, and it was so colorful. Even though I've used mint macaron to color all of the succulents, I really found ways to incorporate pops of color in the card bases and in the designer paper. So I was really happy with the way that turned out. We've got one more card. We're not done yet. I know I was just showing you all the cards, but we are not done. Speaking of color, our last card is the Highland Heather card. This one is really beautiful. And the sentiment says, "You've been on my mind." And then on the inside, we've got just a couple more little succulents in there. But the one thing I'm really excited about this card is the background. And so I can't wait to show you this little technique with the in background. We're going to use the large die and we're going to emboss. I'm just going to poke some of those extra little pieces out. We're going to emboss the white cardstock using the silicone mat. Have you guys done this technique before? It's hard to see here, and I think the difference is that I used regular basic white cardstock, and I definitely recommend that you use the thick Whisper white cardstock for this one. So you're going to use the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. So let me get that out. And then your sandwich here, we're going to eliminate this thin die adapter, which is number 2. We're going to just take that off and we're going to put the cutting base down, a plate down, and then for this technique, we're using the silicone craft mat. And this is something that you can use with adhesive. You can do like the reflection technique with it. There's a lot of different techniques. This is just in the regular annual catalog. We're going to use it for embossing with dies. Okay, so we're going to take the thick Whisper white cardstock. This again is just a little bit thicker than the regular cardstock, and then we're going to take the die cutting edge down. It's not going to cut the silicone mat, I promise. And then we're going to put the other cutting plate on top and we're going to send it through. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. It's not too thick. If it's too thick, you might have your extra platform base on and you don't want that extra platform base. And the result is an impression on the cardstock of the die. Isn't that cool? So you can do this with any die. It's really beautiful with this detail die, but you can do it with any die. So any of the dies that we've used, you can do impressions of the detailed succulents. You can, it's really pretty. Like we had a detailed like snowflake die once, and we did, oh, excuse me. We did the impression with that. So any detailed die, any die, you can create an embossed impression using the silicone mat. So if you don't have that yet, you'll want to add it to your wish list, to your next order. Let me get you an item number on that really quick, so you can write it down. It's in the catalog, in the back. Oh, it should be right around here. I should have had the page flagged. I'm sorry that I didn't. Well, goodness. Silicone craft sheet 167. I should have just started back there. Okay, here it is with all the adhesives. So it's number 8 on page 167. The silicone craft sheet is item number 127853, and it's $6. So definitely add that to your next order so that you can do embossing with the dies. It is such an awesome trick. Yes. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I'm catching up on all your comments. I think we're good. All right, so that's the background on this card. Let's get this back. Let's get this back over here and talk about measurements. So this piece, the thick cardstock, this was 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. So 3.5 by 4 3/4. And that's going to go right in the center of the Highland Heather card base. This is so pretty. Not a color, and I think we're taking a little bit of creative license with the succulents here. I'm not sure that there are succulents that are quite this color. This seems a little bright of a purple, but we're going with it. While we're doing the front, let's go ahead and cut our designer paper. So this is the Highland Heather pattern from the hand penned designer paper. Oh, that's so pretty on that side too. We're going to cut a piece across. This designer paper is going to be 1.5 inches. Okay, so we've got all this left over. You can use this for the envelope flap or another card. And then we're cutting this to 5.5. So this designer paper piece is 1.5 by 5.5. Rosie says, if you have the old Big Shot, does that trick work? Absolutely. Absolutely. The silicone craft embossing mat. So you just maybe need to adjust your platform differently, depending on the platform that you have for the Big Shot. There used to be some that were hinged, and if you have that kind, you would want it to be all open, all the hinged open. We had another one where it was similar, where there was like a base and then a thin die adapter. So again, you just want to leave the thin die adapter off. I don't have any, or I don't have any experience with other die cutting machines, so I couldn't tell you about the Cricut or anything else, but definitely with the Big Shot, it's the same sandwiches. It's the same kind of thing as the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I put that right across the bottom of my card. Oh my gosh, that texture is so amazing. And then while we're in here, I'm just going to go ahead and add this ribbon. I'm giving it a nice clean cut, so I've got a clean angle here. And I do find that the ends can fray a little bit. Actually, I'm going to cut quite a bit of that off. I don't want it to go all the way across the card, just about there. So with this ribbon, I'm going to add a piece of tear and tape to hold that down. I think this is going to be the best thing to really make sure that ribbon doesn't come off and go away. So let's scoot it a little bit over more right there. And I'm just going to kind of push down on it and keep it in place. Okay, so that is kind of the base of the front. Now we need to do some stamping and some die cutting. This piece, what is this piece? Well, this is for the inside, but it's not the right width. I hope I didn't cut them all right or wrong. This piece should be 4 inches by 5 1/4. So if your piece is off in your kit, you might need to trim it down. We're going to stamp before we glue that down. And then we're also going to, I used up almost all of this. I have a little bit left here. I think I can get what I need. 1, 2, and the label. Let's see what we can get. We're going to stamp the large succulent, not the large one, the medium one, the large individual one. And oops, I should have used my grid paper. And then the small one. Oh, goodness me. So we're going to color and die cut one of each, and then on the inside stamp one of each. And then I also need to do a label. I think I've got enough room here. If you need to, grab your other scrap sheet that's a little bigger. You've been on my mind. And this is kind of tight. So if you might find it easier to die cut first and then stamp, or stamp and then die cut. Either way though, I do find it easier to color before I die cut. So I'm going to do that next. I'm using the Highland Heather Stampin' Blends to color. Oh, Lane, I'm so glad that you love this. Oh, no, that's dark. Oh, that's light. What? That's a really dark light. Okay. Lyd says she likes purple, so I'm glad that you do. This card is, I'm not a huge purple person, so this one was a little out of my comfort zone, but I wanted to incorporate some different colors and use that pattern of the designer paper. So a little something for everybody. This was much darker than I thought it was going to be, and I think that the blunt tip is a little bit lighter. You know what? It's not really that much lighter. I must have just had a really light touch when I colored it earlier. This just looks so much lighter to me, or it just soaked in a little bit, I guess. So coloring these, it looks like we've passed our 1.5-hour mark. I'm sorry this class is running so late, but you can come back and watch the replay if you need to go. And we're almost done. This is the last of our 5 cards. So if you're still hanging in there with me, thank you. I'm so glad you guys are joining me tonight. This has been fun. And I'm really happy to have another set of these beautiful cards to send to. I forgot I wanted to add, I think we can go back and do it. I wanted to add some of the wooden elements to some of these other cards, and this was one of them where I added some of the wood elements. So when we put the card together, don't let me forget to add some of those. Do you guys have big plans for the 4th of July if you're in the United States? Oh, tomorrow is Canada Day, right? We are headed for vacation. We're going to go up to Michigan for a week and spend some time on a lake with a boat and just relax. And visit some family and just have some time with the kids. I'm really looking forward to it. Trying to blend in those dark lines. I think I got it okay. I'm ready to die cut. How about you guys? Oh, Carmen says she made all her cards yesterday. That's so awesome. That's one of the perks of doing the card kit is that you can make them on your own. The PDF included everything you needed to know to create these cards. So if you want to do them on your own, if you want to do them together, we also need to die cut some of the succulents on the green. So I'm going to get that out and send those through at the same time. So this is just a scrap of green. And I think I'm going to have to die cut that smaller succulent on the next pass because the die is so close to the label. Holding it down with my Post-it so that it doesn't shift, especially on this label. Right here, send that through. And we need one more of this succulent. And then we need to do that small. I think they could kind of pass for flowers. Don't you think this shape looks like a flower? Maybe, kind of, sort of. It's definitely a succulent. I like succulents because they're harder to kill. They're hardier plants, right? And so I have a black thumb. I always kill house plants. So succulents are my kind of plant because they can go for a while without water and they're harder to kill. Okay, let's sort through. Oh. Sort through our scraps. Get our dies all in a pile and figure out what we have and what we need. Okay. Oh no! I forgot about the pots. You guys, you didn't remind me. Oh, so we're gonna do this on crumb cake. This is the pot, and then I did add a little shading onto this with a crumb cake marker as well. Did I do this already? Or am I thinking of the last card? Must be thinking of the last card because I swear I just colored one of these. Okay, this one's little. I'll get Lucy out for this one. There's our pot die. Oh, Rebecca, I'm so glad that you enjoyed this class. Did you make the cards at home and follow along? I'm trying to read Morgan's comment. Last night I watched tutorials and then went to my craft room. The next thing I knew it was 5 o'clock. Unfortunately, my 16-year-old had an appointment at the ENT, and so there was not much sleep. 5 a.m.? Oh my goodness, Morgan. I've totally done that before. I've stayed up all night. Oh my gosh. I hope that you can get some good sleep tonight and make up for that that lack of sleep last night. I always end up working on a deficit, it feels like. And so that's one thing I'm looking forward to with vacation is just catching up on sleep. not staying up late and just enjoying sleep, enjoying sleeping in, not having to think about things for a while. All right, this ribbon is a little bulky, so I'm going to start with the flower pot, and it's going to need some dimensionals to keep it elevated where it needs to be. I've lost my dimensionals again. Here they are. Let's also be aware of leaving space for that ribbon. So that ribbon is going to kind of cover up the top of the succulent pot. So I'm not going to put any dimensionals there because that ribbon is already supporting it. I'm going to put this over here on the left side, and I'm putting the pot right about at the top of the ribbon. Then I'm going to add the You've Been on My Mind with Stampin' Dimensionals as well, one on either end. Oh, thank you so much, Alita. She says for the old big shot for the embossing, she used the hinge platform, tab 1, precision plate, silicone matte, cardstock framelit, and then the clear plate. Woohoo! It is such a fun technique. And once you do it, like, you're just going to want to do it with all your dies. Okay, we've got that there. Now these, did I put those on? I feel like I did it purposely so I could like kind of tuck these in. And so maybe just one dimensional at the top of these so that you can still tuck the bottom in. So one at the top, one here, and one here. And then these I had on with dimensionals, not dimensionals, glue dots, and kind of like stuck them down. So if you need to do like a little trim, or glue it down first so that you can get it in there. But I like to be able to kind of, you know, like tuck that in. I guess it would be good to put it down first. Oh, no, I'm just pulling the whole card apart. Good grief. Okay. I'm just going to cut more of it. You could tell it's the end of the night. I'm getting frustrated. Oh, let's get that back on there. Let's get this back on here. Okay. Oh, and this one. That one's gonna slide. Very good. Let's get a glue dot on that one and slide it underneath, because the Stampin' Dimensionals on the banner are just on the ends. So I've got some room to slide in the middle. Okay, this is one place where if you want to add some of those wooden elements, you can. So again, not sure how like botanically accurate this is, but I thought you could add some leaves like that, and I love that kind of pop of color. So I'm going to tuck those underneath because this is just on one dimensional. I have some like wiggle room in there where I can just sort of tuck that in. So I'm going to add, these are the smaller leaves on the wooden elements, and I'm just going to tuck one in on either end there, and then add a twine bow as well. Oh, Lynn says this is her favorite card, probably because it's purple, right, Lynn? Jenny says the cards tonight are beautiful. I'm getting the tutorial and looking forward to your classes every month. Yay! I'm so glad. I am really excited about doing these online classes. When I did the kits before, I had tutorials, but I didn't do a walkthrough of all the cards. And so I think it's really fun to walk through all the cards and kind of talk about, like, you know, what I was thinking when I designed them, and, you know, how I did these different elements. I think it kind of makes it a little more fun. So I'm so glad you guys are excited about it. All right, there is the finished card. You've been on my mind. I love that. And then you have lots of room to write inside. let's take a quick peek at all of our cards again. I think this is the other one. No, this isn't the other one I was going to add to. This one was the other one I was thinking to add to. So I'm going to do that really quick. I'm sorry I forgot to do this earlier when I was putting my card together. So hopefully it's not too late for you. I'm just going to peel, carefully peel my label up. And I'm going to add some of the these wooden elements. So let's see if I can do this. A little bit below. Okay, and then I am gonna do dimensionals in the empty spaces. One here and one here. So if you want to add, and you have them, you can add some extra embellishment to your card with those wooden elements. Okay, just shove things out of the way. All right, we have the accordion card. We have the purple Highland Heather card, the So Saffron Z Fold card. I think I want to move my bow over here. There, I like that better. My favorite, the pale papaya card with the detailed background. Oh, this one might be my favorite. I don't know. I love them all. I hope that you've enjoyed the Simply Succulent card class. Now, again, if you missed out on the kit, it's not too late for the PDF. You can get the tutorials in my Etsy store at tinyurl.com/June 2021 PDF. The tutorial is, I think it's 7 pages altogether, which includes detailed instructions and measurements and templates and everything that you need, all the information to create these cards at home. So you can watch the video as reference again and follow along, or you can just create them straight from the PDF. But here's where you can get it, and be sure to watch for details about my new Stamp of the Month card class. I'll be doing this every single month, featuring a different stamp set and suite, and you can do lots of different options to participate. You can get the card kit, you can add on the stamp set, you can add on the dies, you can get the PDF only. In July, we'll be doing Christmas in July. I'll be featuring the Tidings and Trimmings bundle, and here is a sneak peek of one of the cards. So it'll be lots of Christmas cards. If you want to get the card kit and substitute your own Christmas stamp set, I think it'll be a nice little jump start on your Christmas crafting. So watch for details on that. Now be sure to tune in tomorrow for Thursday night stamp therapy. I've got some more fun projects to share with you. And thank you for joining me tonight. Happy stamping, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.